Well, hello, we're back. Welcome to a new episode of the Bunkered Podcast. I'm Michael McEwen. Thank you very much for tuning in. First of all, apologies. It's been a few weeks. Multiple reasons for that. Illness. That's certainly been one of them for both me and Lewis. And in Lewis's case, another reason being that he ditched us to go and join the Tartan Army in Boston to celebrate Scotland's return to the World Cup. So yes, you'll need to excuse us. This is the first podcast for 2 or 3 weeks, but we are back. We're excited. We are fired up. We're frankly roasting because wherever you are in the UK listening right now, I'm sure you can relate. It is Scorchio. It is proper taps off weather, but for the benefit of those watching on YouTube, Lewis and I have decided to keep the taps on.
For now.
For now. We'll see how it goes. Lewis, hello, how you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks, Michael.
Whew, it is so hot.
It's really warm, let's just address that. I know the listeners don't care about that,
Not
but it is very warm.
bit, yes.
I also say that as we have a colleague in Manchester, Josh, who was telling us yesterday it's meant to be 39 degrees tomorrow, I think, which is a bit ridiculous, to be honest.
Yeah, that is hot. It does remind me that this time last year, because the schools were finishing they're finishing in Scotland this week. This time last year we were in Paris and we went to Euro Disney, and it was, I think, 42 was the heat it got to there. It got so hot that they had to close the Eiffel Tower because the metal was creaking.
Jesus.
And it was too hot for people to stand on it. So we are fast approaching that. But listen, apparently climate change isn't a thing.
Yeah, no.
Because we all grew up with 39-degree summers and then torrential rain and hailstones.
It comes in waves, doesn't it? It's peaks and troughs and all that.
So.
Yeah.
Listen, tell me about the World Cup.
Oh, God.
But keep it brief, because this is a golf podcast.
Yeah, it is.
But
so
a good time had?
An amazing time. It was proper whirlwind few days. We stayed in New York for a couple of nights, which was brilliant.
Remind me, this is your first time in America?
First time ever in America.
And you went to New York?
In any capacity whatsoever. Yeah, I know. Well, the thing is, like, not to go into it too much, but when we booked like accommodation, we didn't know if we were going to be playing in New York or Boston, and we thought it was close enough either way. So a couple of nights in New York, which was really good fun, and then had a couple of days in Boston where the game was Scotland's first game. Where we beat Haiti.
So that's the one you went to, wasn't it?
That's the one I went to, yeah. It was funny. We were watching obviously the Morocco game, and we conceded after about 10 seconds of the match, and my mate's like, well, we picked a good game to go to because this one's not going very well.
The Morocco game turned out fine. I'll take that.
Maybe. I think people listening to this on Thursday will know if that was fine or not.
Yes.
Hopefully it will be, and we'll get through in the most Scotland fashion ever of just not getting thrashed.
Of the three games, Morocco, for me, I think I even said this in the pod, Morocco was always the hardest game as far as I'm concerned. I think they're a better team than Brazil, but I'm going to look very foolish when people are listening to this, like you say, Thursday morning going, Brazil just beat us 5-0.
Yeah, I know, this is the thing. So, it was amazing, proper, like, crazy few days. Everyone in Boston was really friendly. Like, I know you saw, like, all this stuff on social media. That was not an exaggeration of what it was like. It felt like you were kind of in Glasgow, except everyone was a lot more friendly. It was warmer, and we were allowed to drink in the street, so everything was great.
So nothing at all like Glasgow.
Nothing at all like Glasgow.
Do they have an underground that just goes round in a circle?
No, the undergrounds there were really confusing. I will say that I was completely lost. Thankfully, my mate Craig is a bit more tuned in. He's been to America a few times before, so he knew we were supposed to go. If not, I'd probably still be there right now. We'd be waiting even longer for a podcast if it wasn't for that. Especially in New York. Oh my goodness, we were like, obviously 3 like Scottish blokes standing there looking completely gormless, like no idea where we were going.
On the underground?
On the underground, yeah. Like,
it's
first
so
day
easy
there.
though. When you figure it out, it's dead simple.
I know, but we hadn't figured it out by this point, and someone who was clearly from New York came up to us and said, like, is this train going downtown? We're like, mate, look at us. Like, we don't have a Scooby where we're going. We don't know what time it is. I don't know which way.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Well, you've got a 50% chance of being right.
Yeah, but then I'm also worried that if we get on this train, he gets on it as well, and we've sent him the wrong way for work, then he's going to be very upset at us, and we're going to
do the old Scottish thing of whip my like.
Yeah, I know. So, but it was funny. So the night before the game, we were still in New York when a lot of Scotland fans were in Boston by this point, and we went to Times Square And as we were walking there, a guy with a Reuters top on, like,
right, yeah.
obviously recognised me from the podcast. You know,
Of course,
big
yeah,
name
yeah.
and that. And he came over and he was like, "Do you guys know that you're walking to Times Square when there's like a Brazil convention, like party thing on? They'd organised to gather there."
Oh, okay.
I'm like, "Yeah, it's fine. Like, we, go anywhere. It'll be a good laugh." And there must have been about like 3,000 or 4,000 Brazilian fans there, which was really cool. But there was a lot of Brazilian media going around, and they're speaking to like Brazil fans, of course, but then they see us in the kilts, and a few other Scottish fans were the same. So we've probably been like the face of Brazilian TV for
So
quite
you were
a few.
interviewed by Brazilian TV?
I would guess we were interviewed about half a dozen times, yeah, separately. And a few of them involved, if you look hard enough, you will find this, but the few of them involving like translators, which definitely like getting the wrong end of the stick and questions. We'd obviously had
so
a
you
few
were on
beers.
like Good Morning Rio?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Their equivalent of like Sports Scene and their equivalent of Jonathan Sutherland.
Whatever their equivalent is of the one show you were on that.
Or like A View from the Terrace or whatever it is. So we were on that. There's one guy who had, you'll notice this like cool new mic covers that we have here.
Yes.
There was one stuck in my face that said Los Analistas on it.
Okay.
So
yeah.
obviously quite highbrow, like probably looking at like tactical evaluation of games and
Well,
like,
I think that's the
thinking
analysts.
that, that's kind of what I had, like rough translation. And he asked me what I thought the score was going to be in the Brazil game, and I said 5-0 to Scotland.
Whoops. Because little do you know, Los Analistas are probably an ultras group instead, and they're now tracking
they're
you
hunting
down.
me down, and they're going to see this and find me. So yeah, that was James Tate who said that. So if you're looking for that person to go and lynch him, then that's him. So James Tate of St Andrews. But yeah, overall an amazing experience, and
brilliant.
Yeah, we'll be back for the final.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's something to look forward to in just a few weeks' time.
What's been happening with you?
Clashes with Open Championship Sunday, by the way,
I
just
might
so
need
you
to
know.
quit my job for that.
Listen, we'll replace you. It's
okay,
fine.
that's fine.
I might join you.
Yeah.
What's been happening here? Let me see. Watching the World Cup mainly, but it's been a funny few weeks for golf. Obviously, we had the US Open last week, which we're going to talk about. We need to talk about fan behaviour, which wasn't the best. I know that Wyndham Clark's not the most popular man in the world, but still, Long Island going to Long Island. What else have we got? There's some rollback discussion that we need to have, which particularly can get your take on, Mr. Performance Editor, and various other bits and pieces. But yeah, lots to get into. Shall we take a dive in?
Go on,
Let's start with the US Open. You were back in time for the US Open, weren't you? You made it back in time for the first round getting underway. So, I don't know about you. It was probably very different for you being in the States and following football. Maybe you didn't have the same sort of sense of anticipation for the US Open as I did. I was very excited about this year's US Open. I always am anyway, because I just love I guess it appeals to the sadist in me. I like seeing the best players in the world struggle. I love the whole toughest test in golf thing. And I like, in a morbid sense, seeing just how hard they set up the golf course. I want to see struggle. I want to see, the players really graft and grind to get any kind of score out of it. So I always look forward to it. This year, I think because of the World Cup as well, I was quite ready for, something that was still sport, but not that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was really excited for it. Was it great? No, not really. It was. I thought it had all the ingredients for it. It had, all the best players coming in on somewhat of a form. They had the Scotty Scheffler career Grand Slam storyline. Shinnecock Hills is a phenomenal golf course. What they didn't get, in my opinion, were the right conditions at the start of the tournament. I mean, when you have, and this is true for the Open as well most years, but when the conditions play such a critical role in determining just how challenging the course plays from one morning to the next, from the morning to the afternoon, I think that's too much. And, Wyndham Clark was able to get the advantage of the more benign conditions on the first day, posted a good score, and then, I'll be honest, I woke up on Friday and thought, yeah, that's it, pretty much done.
Really?
Yeah. I just didn't see him surrendering it.
Yep.
And because of the nature of the course, because of the mental grind of it, I just didn't see anyone catching up to him. And, not trying to smart after the fact, but so it proved.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, I didn't expect to see anyone shoot a 64, that's for sure. But I think you're right in that it's hard I imagine, when you're trying to set up a course for a tournament like this, because the reputation that Shinnecock has in the past is, the classic they've lost the golf course thing.
Yeah.
This is not what organisers want, because for Thursday, correct me if I'm wrong here, but there were some really strong winds in the afternoon that if they'd set the course up to be really firm and fiery, which is what we want to see, then all of a sudden you're going to wipe out so much off the play, because, they already had like a delay in the start of the day with fog coming in. That doesn't help. So they have to set it up in a way that it's going to be playable the whole time, or else you're just putting yourself in the back foot, as they already were.
And that's a real challenge. You've got to make a golf course playable for 14 hours a day.
Yep.
Certainly for 2 consecutive days, and then for 10 hours a day for another 2 consecutive days. So it's very difficult to do. And at Shinnecock, I think the nature of it, where it is in the world, out on one of the furthest tips of Long Island, it is exposed to the elements. And so you are somewhat at the mercy of the elements. I don't know. I thought they set it up as well as they could have, but then the elements didn't cooperate, and you ended up with a runaway leader.
Yep.
Which doesn't make for compelling viewing.
No, it doesn't. Look, I want to talk about Saturday in particular, and I'm not sure the reasons for like the tee times. I'm sure there'll be people who will know better than me, like other sporting events, or if it's just purely for like primetime TV over in the States. But the leaders teed off at 3:45 local time.
Absolutely absurd.
That's mad. So that's, 9:15 for us? And that makes it difficult from a viewing point of view for us back home. But
which they don't care about.
They don't care.
They're not bothered.
But for spectators there, Wyndham Clark's hit like incredible shots coming down the stretch on Saturday. It's shot into 16, I believe, like high cut with a 3-wood or 5-wood.
Shot of the week, by the way. Maybe even the shot of the year.
Yeah, very close to it. Unbelievable. That's put him in a position where he can have like a pretty difficult Sunday and win the event. And there is basically no one there to watch it.
Everyone's left.
Because at that point, you don't blame them, because it's in the evening. Like, I can imagine it's not an easy venue to get back from, as I know from being in the States.
Yeah.
You need to plan these things ahead. So
Long Island is an absolute shit show for golf.
Yeah.
I was there for the Ryder Cup at Bethpage, which is, if I'm getting my bearings right here, I think it's closer to New York City and certainly Manhattan, than Shinnecock is. But Long Island is a nightmare. It is a travel disaster. They've got the Long Island Railroad and whatnot. They've also got Long Island Expressway, which, by the way, is anything but.
Not express.
It isn't.
It's the opposite of express.
It makes the A9 look like a 6-lane motorway.
Right,
it's
okay.
terrible. So, I don't think Long Island is particularly well set up infrastructurally for golf courses. It should, for golf events, it should be. As I say, it's got the expressway, it's got the railroad, but for some reason, it just doesn't work. It was taken north of 2 hours to get from Bethpage to the hotel at JFK Airport, which is on the right side of Manhattan. It's there. It's pretty much on the tip of Long Island. It was taken north of 2 hours when it should have been taken, half an hour max. It is horrific.
Yep.
Terrible. And that's before you start discussing the type of people who are there, which we'll come to. But it was... you're asking why it was the leaders were teeing off at that time. I think quite clearly it's TV. TV dictates tee times these days. We know that. We've had the similar issue at the Scottish Open for a number of years now, where we've seen the leaders tee off at back at 3 or around about 3 o'clock to accommodate the American audience. And the TV channels over there that want stuff at a certain time. TV's the biggest check writer, and he who pays the piper calls the tune. So it's no doubt a consequence of that, but you are absolutely bang on. What an almighty miss. For everybody, because the leaders shouldn't be coming down the stretch in a major with one man and his dog cutting about. That's just not how it should be. And yeah, I thought that was a massive organisational misstep for me.
Yeah, tough. So yeah, that did kind of spoil viewing experience on Saturday night, and also the fact that Wyndham Clark at that point was so far ahead. So you can see why people are leaving. You think there's no jeopardy there really at that point.
Correct, and he looked like he had it totally in his, in his hands. He was fully in command of the tournament at that point. And yeah, it's not like somebody was going to overtake him or there was going to be much of a challenge thrown down. He was just running away with it at that point. So you can understand people going, yeah, I've had a good day out, thanks very much. I'm going to try and beat the traffic or beat the worst of it. Otherwise, you're going to be getting home close to midnight.
Yeah, which is no good.
Yeah, that's no use to anybody. So yeah, they got that part wrong. Not Wyndham Clark's problem. And listen, Sunday wasn't quite the coronation that we expected it to be. Certainly, if Andy Burnham was watching that and talking about coronations, then he'll be hoping for something a little bit more straightforward than Wyndham Clark had. I think he will have something a little bit more straightforward. But yeah, it was. Sunday was precisely what majors are, hard to close out.
Yeah.
And Wyndham struggled without anyone other than Sam Burns really applying that much pressure. Scotty Scheffler looked at one stage like he might start to make a charge. Tom Kim looked like he might start to make a charge. Sam Burns obviously did close the gap, but then just didn't hole putts in the big moments, particularly on the last hole, to really put him under pressure. Yeah, -3 is a compelling clubhouse target, but Wyndham just had to make sure that he didn't make big mistakes, and that was the strength of him, throughout most of the week. So yeah, he had a couple of wobbles, but got there, got the job done. 2-time US Open champion, and probably the least popular man on the grounds that night for reasons that I can partly understand, but I can't accept.
I can partly understand it as well, but I'm trying to wrap my head around this, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but for me, what's happened with Wyndham is obviously there was the incident this time last year at
the lockers
Oakmont
at Oakmont,
with the locker room,
yeah.
which everyone will know about. But if you don't, it's widely sort of reported that he smashed up a locker door.
Yeah, there's pictures circulating.
Yeah.
It's not like he stuck his fist through it. I mean, he's had a good few kicks and punches at it. Throwing hands at a locker is objectively a strange thing to do, but it's frustration.
Yeah.
And he's apologised multiple times. He was banned by the club unless he covered the cost of repairs, which we're led to believe that he's done. So he's shown contrition for it, and he is still being hung out to dry for it.
That's what I was going to say. Like, apart from that, and I say apart from because I get why people would be upset about that, but why do people dislike Wyndham Clark so much?
I think it's that plus a few other things. It's not like, he smashed up a locker one time and now people are, actively despising him. He, at the PGA Championship, a month before that happened last year, he had that little fit of pique where he smashed his driver, and the club itself ended up going through a sponsor sign. Ironically, a T-Mobile sponsor. So that's either a sensational bit of activation or something that the sponsors won't have a word with him about. I remember a marshal at the time who was standing fairly close to it didn't help matters when they're saying, I was scared to death. I feared for my safety. It's like, it's a golfer throwing a golf club. It could have been worse.
Yes,
so let's not blow it out of proportion. Wrong, but again, let's not pretend we needed to fear for safety. There's been other stuff as well. I mean, he's made some strange remarks. He obviously had his breakthrough in the US Open at 2023 at LA Country Club, and subsequent to that, I mean, this was a guy who, before he won a major, I don't know if anyone necessarily had him in the conversation to ever win a major. He, rightly or wrongly, was perceived as just a bit of a journeyman and just a part of the pack on the PGA Tour. He gets his big breakthrough and then suddenly he's making the case for smaller fields and all that sort of stuff, which came across as, pretty arrogant, which, again, in isolation is fine. He made comments, remember, on comms during the par 3 contest at the Masters this year, where all these little kids are running around, and he made the point that the par 3 contest is a great form of birth control, a pretty ill-judged attempt at humour. But a joke nonetheless.
Yeah. Not a great one, but
not
still
a great one,
yeah.
but it's those kinds of things. There's been a lot of, and I guess I would sum it up in the round as incidents of bad judgment from Wyndham Clark, whether it's saying something about the depth of fields, whether it is a bad joke, whether it is throwing his club in anger, or whether it is losing his temper and taking it out in a locker. There's a series of bad judgments that he's made. It has then been compounded by social media doing what social media does best. And there are other... I don't need to get into a back and forth about who's responsible for, fanning the flames of his reputation and who's responsible for blowing his reputation into something perhaps more than it actually is. Who has created Wyndham Clark the villain? You don't have to do too many searches for his name on X, for example, to see who the perpetrators of this are. He's no saint, but he is absolutely nowhere near as bad as has been made out.
Yep.
He has become somewhat of a Patrick Reed style figure in that he is the guy who people are being encouraged to make fun of and then to root against. And that manifested in a really ugly and unacceptable way at Shinnecock Hills over the weekend. New Yorkers are a tough crowd, okay? I mean, I'm telling you to tell that guy on the train station, just say it's downtown. You know what? In retrospect, it's probably for the best you didn't, because if you had been wrong, he and his pals would have found you, Lewis.
I know.
New Yorkers are a tough crowd, especially as it comes to sport. You've got some of the most historic franchises in world sport: the Knicks, New York Rangers, Giants, Jets, Yankees, Mets. The list goes on. You take those historic franchises and you combine that with quite a belligerent demographic, quite a combative, pugnacious city, of which there's a lot of people, then you have the recipe for what we got at Bethpage last year, at Bethpage in 2019, when Brooks Koepka was heckled coming down the stretch trying to win, was it the US Open there, or maybe the PGA, and then obviously, again, what you had with Wyndham Clark. So it is a problem that Wyndham Clark's reputation is a problem that has been created by a subset of the golf community that has been exacerbated by New York, Long Island sports fans. The whole sum of those parts just created something that was really disappointing and that has, in my opinion, no place in golf. And people, and they have done, I've had it all over the weekend. Come at me all you want. If you don't stick your real name and your real picture on your profile, do not expect me to reply. But I've had every kind of thing said to me: soft, woke, this, that, swear word, woke. To be clear, golf can and should be different from other sports. It's not basketball, it's not baseball, it's not American football. There's a certain expected behaviour from fans at any sporting event. Golf just so happens to have ones that are built around respect, around, respectfully being silent at the appropriate times. And when that's breached, it doesn't take many people to create a scene.
Yep.
It wasn't thousands and thousands of people that were ruining Wyndham Clark's day, and they didn't because he won.
Yeah.
It wasn't thousands and thousands, but it doesn't need to be thousands and thousands at a golf event. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was really uncomfortable, even watching on TV, because you're right, golf should be held to a completely different standard than other sports. And in this case, that part of the world is getting a pretty bad reputation for that not happening. Hearing after pretty much every shot that Wyndham Clark's hitting to get in the bunker, or when his ball is rolling off the green and people are actively cheering it, is just not the way that it should be. We've all been to golf tournaments and you have someone that you want to win, but absolutely no one is ever, when we go to the Open in a few weeks' time, if there's, say that Scotty Scheffler was not a popular winner, but it was very different.
Brian Harman in 2023. Listen, this isn't just an American problem. It's a mostly American problem, but it is a creeping issue across golf because, and I'm listen, it's the barstoolification of golf.
Yeah, massively.
This type of behaviour, this. What's even the way of describing it? These overblown reactions, this belligerent, hostile, F-bomb dropping, everything's a massive deal. You know, there's no real nuance to a lot of these debates and discussions that are being had in other places. And that's why I'm really grateful for the people who do listen to this show, because, look, we don't get the same numbers as some of the podcasts that I'm describing. But I'm glad for that, because the people who listen to this show, I think, are here because they want to hear the right kind of discussions. They want to have a bit of fun, and I think we do give them that. But equally, we're not giving you hot takes for the sake of let's make sure we clip that part up and get lots and lots of visibility. Maybe we should. Maybe that's a better business plan. But that's not what I want to do with this.
No.
I don't think that's the type of golf fan that I am. So yeah, when it's funny, people, I see it all the time on social media, people are very quick to jump straight to like absolute fury and the most extreme response, and they miss out a lot of steps to get there. Mm-hmm. You know, you could say their first response might be, Wyndham Clark deserves everything he's getting. And you reply going, can you explain? Yeah. And the reply you get to that is, because he's an effing douche who's this, that, and the other, and I hope that the worst things happen to him. You know, that it's that kind of leap through all the little steps in between missed. And it's just, that's the part I really struggle with. That's the part that is infiltrating golf crowds. It's happening here in the UK, not to the same extent, but it is definitely happening. The treatment of Brian Harman at Royal Liverpool, for example, was not right. The treatment of Scotty Scheffler, some of the stuff that was said to Scotty Scheffler by the crowd at Portrush last year was so beyond the pale. It's just so much more noticeable in America because, one, you see a lot more American golf on TV. Mm-hmm. There's a golf tournament in America every week. Mm-hmm. And because I think it's a bigger problem there than it is here. Yeah,
I'd agree with that. It's tough. Like, I don't see any solution to this.
I've got one. I've got one. Well, for a start, I think it was Eamon Lynch said this on the Golf Channel last night. Don't take events to Long Island.
Yeah.
Like, punish them. Yeah, that's a shame for Bethpage. That's a shame for Shinnecock Hills and such like great golf courses. But they don't have an audience demonstrably now. There's enough evidence to say that they don't have an audience that deserves events of this caliber. Mm-hmm. So if that audience cannot behave according to the expectations that golf sets down, then don't take golf events to them. It's really that part's really simple, by the way. The other part of me is going, well, the Masters, for example, doesn't have this sort of nonsense.
True.
Now, it's not that long ago that it was reported, I think this is 2018. This is around the time that Dilly Dilly was a big thing. I don't know if you recall it.
Sorry.
But fans were shouting Dilly Dilly in lieu of like mashed potato and all that sort of carry on.
Right,
Dilly Dilly was the mashed potato, the Baba Booey, the getting the whole of its time.
God, that's completely escaped my memory. Yeah.
You're lucky.
Okay,
and
good.
Ahead of the Masters in 2018, reportedly, security officials on the grounds were told, they're handed a list of things that fans weren't allowed to say, like objectionable phrases.
I do remember
And
this.
If they said any of them, out. Mm-hmm. No second chances, no questions asked. And that is consistent with the hardline policy that the Augusta National Golf Club takes. It doesn't suffer fools. Mm-hmm. If you do things that it doesn't want you to do, you're out, you're off the property, and you may not ever get back in. The punishment is really, really severe.
Yep.
And it works.
True.
So the PGA Tour, it's well within their gift to start punishing fans the same way. Mm-hmm. Now, I know that there were some people that were ejected the other night, and that's fine. Not enough of them.
No.
And the PGA Tour can really start to clamp down on it by, well, for one, cutting audio mics behind the tee when people are about to tee off. That's when it's at its worst. That's where the crowds congregate, and that's where you get all the inanities shouted. And then they have enough security around the golf courses where they can say, right, you're out. Mm-hmm. Like, it shouldn't be down to the players to point out that guy's being abusive, the PGA Tour should be more on the front foot with policing its events and not leaving it to the players playing in the events to do the policing for them. The Masters can do it. Why can't the PGA Tour? It goes from venue to venue to venue, week to week to week. This is a habit it could very quickly form. Mm-hmm. Instead, it does the opposite. The Waste Management Phoenix Open is an absolute shambles of a tournament. You know, people are spewing all over themselves. You know, they drink until such times as they heckle players like they did with Zach Johnson famously a couple of years ago, and he bit back, or until they pass out. And you know, you can, and maybe we have in the past said in this show, it's just once a year though. It's okay when it's once a year. Actually, it's arguably indicative of the PGA Tour's relationship with alcohol, with its fans, with how it polices its own events. It can and should do so much more.
Yep.
And once it starts to become one of those things that people go, you know what, actually PGA Tour is going to boot me out if I say these things, then these idiots won't go. Mm-hmm. And I'm fine with that.
Oh, me too.
Because the opposite is happening now.
Yes.
Because the PGA Tour is so light on punishment, you're getting people now going deliberately to golf events to cause trouble.
Yep.
That little naff, what's his name? Jack Doherty?
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah.
For those who don't know,
before.
this little haircut is just a social media twat who goes to events and shows up in streets and all that sort of stuff. And he's just deliberately aggressive, but he's got these huge bodybuilders as security standing alongside him. So basically, he'll walk down the street and film himself walking down the street and just throw a shoulder into someone really hard, hoping to get a response from that person. That person goes, "What the are you doing?" And his two security guards step in and he's standing behind them going, "What? What is it? Come on then." Yeah. That guy went to the Waste Management Phoenix Open this year and paid someone, filmed himself paying the person, to heckle a player when he was hitting a shot.
Yeah.
So what are we doing here?
Aye.
Like, why is the PGA Tour not being more hardline about these things? Mm-hmm. My feeling is because they don't see it as a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. And that's why I said, like, I don't see a solution coming here. There is solutions to it.
But you don't see them happening?
I don't see it happening, no. Because if there was, like, we've crossed... Even with the Ryder Cup, I get it's a different organisation, but we've crossed that line where if this was something that governing bodies wanted to change, then they would have looked into doing something, and that's just not happening at the moment. I don't see it happening. Again, like phones, I think is a big thing that Augusta get right, in that you're not allowed to take your phone onto the property at all. Now, that is a hardline thing that I don't see ever happening, like reversing that for the Open or the US Open. But that's such a big issue not? Because, yeah, I know, but it's just not going to... Because people are so glued to them that folk won't want to go for that reason, because they can't go and take a photo of Rory McIlroy. Or...
Have you ever taken a photo of Rory or somebody at the Open? The photos are shit.
Yeah, I know.
The footage is rubbish.
It is rubbish.
Who's looking back at that? It's like... yeah, cultural problem, and it speaks to something bigger and deeper that I could waffle on and on about. But it's just symptomatic of the time that we live in, that... people are craving the wrong things.
Yes.
That guy, did you see the guy on Sunday who was heckling Rory, and Rory turned around, responded to him, and made a reference to the size of the guy? He was hugely overweight, and Rory pointed to his own belly and did that whole thing.
Yeah.
The guy loved it.
Yeah, exactly.
He wasn't ashamed.
Got a reaction.
He got a reaction, and he got it on camera, and that's gone viral. Mm-hmm. That's the world now. People are there's too many people craving the virality that's offered by getting a golfer to respond negatively to them.
Yep.
It's just grim. I'm glad that major season in the US and certainly in the men's game is done. I hope we don't have any issues at Birkdale next month. We will see. I'm sure there'll be stuff, but this is happening time and time again now.
Yeah, there is.
RBC Heritage in April, there was Matt Fitzpatrick coming down the stretch trying to win the tournament, which he did. He did, didn't he?
Yeah.
He did. And he's getting chants of USA, you know, directed at him. That's not especially hostile, but again, it's a crowd actively rooting against somebody, which I think is anti-golf. It's quite possible USA are the only three letters most of those people actually know. But it's just, it's grim. When did respect become such a lame thing?
Yeah.
When did it become something that people resist? It's sad. I sound like a man yelling at a cloud. Maybe I am. And maybe that's a point worth addressing. I'm not trying to be fun police here. I'm not saying that people shouldn't go to golf events and enjoy them. I'd just like them to enjoy them appropriately. Mm-hmm. And there is an accepted standard that is either something that people are expected to intuit or know before they go, learn before they go, and they ain't doing that now.
Yeah.
There's far too many people who have grown up playing Tiger Woods and PlayStation. I remember that game at one point was really driving home the get in the hole messaging.
Yeah.
They've grown up on that. They've gorged on that. They've listened to a lot of Howard Stern and Baba Booey, and now it's Stephen Smith and Skip Bayless and all these people who get a lot of attention from being loud and obnoxious, and they've gone, well, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. And it is damn sad.
Should we talk about something else?
Yeah, I feel like I've said everything I really want to say about that.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Sorry, Lewis.
No, it's all right. It's fine.
What do you want to talk about?
I did the notes. I don't know anything apart from New York crowds.
I mean, Wyndham, what's next for him? I know we say
it.
this after somebody wins a major championship.
Yeah.
He's won 2 US Opens now. I mean, what's his ceiling?
I would have said after his first US Open that probably was his ceiling when it came to major tournaments. And I'll probably say it again. I don't really see him getting to 3 or 4, but you just don't know. I mean, the thing that's saved him, or not saved him, but the reason that he's won the tournament is because he's putted so well.
Yes.
That was the strongest part of his game by far. You can look at numbers, but you look at some of the putts that he's holed over the weekend in particular, barring that 3-putt on 17, like his putter was fantastic. So that tends to be something that's not going to like carry you for a really long time. But who knows? Like, he seems to have a knack for getting in these positions and holding it out. And again, talking about crowds, but I think the most impressive part of him actually winning was the fact that he has the whole world rooting against him. You know, there's a lot of players who will get in these situations and they'll be coming down the stretch and they'll be leaking oil a bit, and the crowd will be on their side and trying to get them home and willing them to get the ball in the hole as quick as they possibly can. Wyndham Clark was the opposite. As soon as he hits a shot, all he's hearing is abuse and bad things being shouted at him. And that can, I imagine anyway, that can pile up pretty quickly in your brain as thinking, oh my God, this is all going wrong. He didn't, that's probably like the worst round that he had was on Sunday, the one where everything's going wrong and it's spiraling quickly. You add in the fact that there's hundreds of fans shouting at your ball to get in the bunker, or cheering when you miss a putt, or screaming at every other golfer on the golf course to willing them on to beat you. For him to be able to do that was really remarkable. And I think, like, for me anyway, I can't say I'm a massive Wyndham Clark fan for reasons that we've spoken about.
Likewise, I wouldn't class myself as a Wyndham Clark fan, but I felt sorry for him.
I felt sorry for him, and I was glad at the end that he did win, because I wouldn't have liked to have seen what the scenes would have been like if he had ended up in a playoff with Sam Burns, because then it's going the really ugly. The stuff that's getting shouted at. I don't want to go back to the crowd stuff.
I think it's a really good point as well. You know, on the crowd part of it, they've tried now 3 times to get a particular result. Rooting against Koepka, rooting against Europe, rooting against Clark, and they've lost 3 times. Maybe something in that.
Good.
Yeah, good.
It's fuel.
It's what they deserve.
It's got to be motivation for Clark.
I want them to be going home, stuck on the Long Island Expressway in just gridlock for hours. I want them going home fuming that they haven't got the outcome they wanted, because that is no less than they deserve.
But yeah, like from a golf point of view, incredibly impressed with Wyndham to actually get it over the line in those circumstances when things seem to be going wrong.
He's been playing well, though.
He has been playing well.
Really well.
Say this as if...
He won just last month as well, didn't he?
Yeah, this is true. Like, we've had... I was thinking about this on the way here. We've had a couple of kind of shock winners by the standards of what the last few years have been with Aaron Rai and Wyndham Clark, in that, for the most part, it's either been Scotty Scheffler or Rory McIlroy who have been winning majors for the last 2 or 3 years. So...
I throw JJ Spawn into that mix
as well. Yeah, that's a good point. So, yeah, I did not see this coming from him. But you're right, he has been playing well. I think he's spoken quite openly about he's been struggling with his swing. He's moved to a swing coach for the first time in years. That's clearly helped him. He's been messing about with his equipment. I think it's quite funny that on Wednesday it was announced that he had signed a deal with Ping to use their putter. I believe he's the only pro, certainly the only male professional who's signed purely on a 1-club deal for Ping.
Right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Wow.
Yeah, to use their putter. And whoever in the marketing team at Ping, bravo, that has worked incredibly well for you, because that was the strongest suit. And I don't think you'll be changing that anytime soon. So, yeah, fair play. Fair play on that front to him for actually doing that.
You know, it looked on Sunday, as I said, that I never felt he had more than an outside chance on Sunday. You know, as close as he did end up getting at one point, it just felt like there was too much work to do, even for a player of his calibre, and he wasn't hitting particularly good shots. You know, struggling to get out of the bunker, for example, I think around about the turn, if I'm remembering it correctly. Two goals getting out of that. You know, we've said this all year, Scotty's not had his best stuff relative to what he had in 2025, 2024. But a unique major for him, because this is the first time he's had the career Grand Slam on the line. Obviously his 30th birthday as well.
Yep.
I'm sure they're...
Father's Day, all that kind of stuff, yeah.
As cerebral a man as I think he presents himself as, we all dream, right? He must have, and he's had plenty of time to think about this, about, you know, the prospect of completing the career Grand Slam on a milestone birthday that coincides with Father's Day, just the stars aligning. I mean, objectively, journalistically, great story that would have been. Great story. But just didn't, it's been symptomatic of his year, didn't have his best stuff when it mattered most. Did you see enough, though, from Scotty's performance this week to tell you that, yeah, he will win the career Grand Slam one day, potentially in the next, let's say, 5 years?
Yeah, of course. Not even just over the weekend, but for the last 3 years. I think we know that this isn't just some sort of purple patch that he's on. He is going to be, barring injury or severe collapse, which I don't see either happening with Scheffler, then we're going to see him up the top of the leaderboard for the next 5 years, like you say.
Christ, he's had the injury.
Yeah, well, yeah, good point.
Just don't make ravioli on Christmas Day.
Yeah, I know. So there's the freak injury. Barring anything else stupid like that happening, then yeah, of course he's going to be up there. I think he is just... That seems like that performance was about the worst that he could have been, really, in that he was playing, you thought he's actually not playing that well here, but yeah, if he had hold a few putts coming down the stretch, then he's going to have been right there. He finished in a tie for fourth, I think. So to be shooting basically level par at a US Open with not your best stuff, didn't really seem to have the putter going. Yeah, I thought he was gonna do it last weekend for reasons as we've discussed many times in this pod. But yeah, I think he will get it done at some point. It was weird, obviously we've had career Grand Slam stories in the last few years. Rory being the most pertinent one, and there's been, I guess,
Spieth
at the start. Yeah, Spieth obviously is kind of different in that. It's almost like a bit of a, I don't want to say a joke, but I don't think
anyone expects him to do it.
No one's expecting it to happen, but people had been expecting it for Rory, and there was the pain and anguish and expectation every single year. It doesn't feel like that with Scotty at the moment, and I think it will take quite a few years for it to feel like that, and it would take more near misses with, not quite similar to what we had there, because it never really felt like he was in contention, but yeah, if it gets to a point where after 5 years it hasn't happened, then you might think, God, is there something wrong here? Is it a mental thing that he can't break through? But at the moment, yeah, I think over the next few years, it'd be daft to say that he's not going to do it. So.
Yeah, I think history's shown it gets harder with every year. You know, and you only get one chance at it every year. So, yeah, I suspect he will do it, but I think there will be a few years go by where it doesn't happen for him. Honestly, I think he might do it at, let's say, the 5th or 6th attempt.
Yep.
But I genuinely do think he'll do it. He's too good not to. And as you rightly said, it's not a purple patch he's on.
Yep.
This is just the way he plays. This is what Scotty Scheffler is. So, health permitting, luck permitting, Mother Nature permitting, yeah, I think he'll get there. But yeah, as a US Open goes, I can't hide it. I was disappointed. I wanted more from it. I wanted better on Sunday in so many different respects. But here we are, Lewis, 3/4 of the way through the men's major season. Fortunately, there's another major coming up this week, the KPMG Women's PGA Championship, a record prize fund announced for that, a record prize fund for women's golf in the history of women's golf. $13 million up for grabs. Reminder, this particular major was given away $3 million not all that long ago. Nelly Korda will be continuing her pursuit of a frankly ridiculous calendar year Grand Slam. Clearly the player to beat. We'll be talking a bit more about that next week. But before we go to the break, and I was going to apologise for it being a bumper show. We've not been here for a few weeks, so I'm not that sorry. Before we go to the adverts, though, I had a quick asked and answered. Lewis?
Yes.
If the answer is... What's this? Well, you wrote the notes. What have you got?
Yeah, 2030. Go on.
If the answer is 2030, what is the question? How good was the eyesight of the referee that didn't give John McGinn a penalty against Morocco?
Or Scott McTominay.
Or
send off their centre half for pulling Che Adams down when he... I think he probably knew that Che Adams wasn't going to score anyway, even if he was one-on-one with the goalie.
Yes. Seen Che before.
Yeah.
Well, let me see. Yeah, again, what was the eyesight of Alex Fitzpatrick adjusted to after he wore those goggles on the green?
That thing's mental, by the way. I looked into this, so I didn't know if I was like hallucinating coming back from being in the heat of America or just still had a few too many Michelob Ultras. And I was watching this.
What's it like? Sorry, what's Michelob Ultra like, by the way?
Basically, like diluting juice,
right?
like
Okay,
fizzy diluting juice.
As
like,
I thought.
Like fine to drink, but it didn't feel like you were drinking
Some
beer.
cheek they've got calling it superior lager.
Superior. What?
Just no.
No, it's not. Yeah, you can just call anything these days, and you get away with it. So
yes,
yeah,
as discussed.
Yeah, as previously discussed in the last 45 minutes of this show. So yeah, no, Michelob Ultra was okay. What else were we drinking out there?
Sam Adams.
Didn't have any Samuel
You
Adams.
went to
Yeah, I
Boston
know.
and didn't have any Sam
I know.
Adams.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. Because we arrived a bit late, there was none left.
Right, okay,
like we
fair
had
enough.
drank it all. We went into several shops looking for alcohol and we couldn't find any. Like it was
Bud Light?
true that we had Bud Light was
Coors
the other
Light.
one. Yeah, I've drank Coors Light before, so it's fine. Bud Light, they all kind of taste the same.
It's
like
light beer.
really watered down.
Yes.
Yeah, like there's much of a muchness, really, all that kind
grim.
of stuff. Yeah, so pretty. I wouldn't say grim. Like there's worse.
It's grim.
It's pretty grim, yeah. But when it was that hot, like you would have just drank anything
true.
to try and cool down a bit. So
Yeah, but what was
yeah.
Alex Fitzpatrick? I turned into James there. What was Alex Fitzpatrick doing with those goggles on?
So apparently,
Was this a VR headset or something like that?
essentially that. But what it does is you will look at a putt, and it will tell you where you're supposed to aim that. And I think it's calibrated to like. So it's called putt view.
Right,
and
okay, yeah.
does what it says in the tin, Ron Seal, in that you look at the green and it will tell you like how it's going to break. So when you get like on the coverage, there will be like a graph. They do this in Live quite a lot, where there'll be like, if you hit it firm, you need to hit it on this line, and if you hit it really soft, you need to take like a longer way round. These goggles are basically meant to help you visualize that on the putting green.
Help or hindrance? Because
I mean,
you
it
can't
seemed to
take them
help
out
him
onto the
because
golf
he
course.
played well. Yeah, obviously you can't take them out when you're playing.
Is there not more to be said for like learning the lines?
Yeah, and just seeing it
doing the reads?
yourself. But I don't know. I feel like it could.
Maybe different
could
types. Maybe
Yeah,
I'm being unfair.
I
Different
think,
types of grain, different types of grasses, and all that stuff.
It could help you visualize,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess.
maybe.
And then if you can sort of picture that when you're on the course and you see a similar putt that you've had in the putting green. But nah, I won't be pulling them out at the Saturday medal. That's for
I'll
sure.
pay more attention when more players start doing it.
Yeah, that's it. I
When it's
feel
just
like
one guy in the field. Maybe he's light years ahead of everyone else.
maybe
I
all
doubt
it
it.
takes is for him to use them and then to win that week. And
Did he
then
win that
lots
week?
of other no,
There
but
you
he
go.
might do it at some point or have a really good finish. And then it's what his brother had when he won using cross-handed chipping, and then we've seen quite a few other players adopt that. So
Much more interested in what Wyndham Clark's routine was on Tuesday and Wednesday last week. As mean as that sounds.
yeah, yeah. It
Listen,
does.
we've had a few responses on social media to this question. If the answer is 2030, what is the question? Cameron Waugh, when will I get my next birdie? Cameron, chin
That's
up.
very
Come on.
defeatist. Come on, you're better than that.
You're better than that, Cameron. Stuart Matheson, what time did I tee off the other night and still manage to get 10 holes in? 8:30. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
This is your
definitely.
favourite time of year, Lewis,
It
isn't it?
is, well, not really, because we're past the solstice, so it's only
all the
nights
days are getting
nights
longer.
drawing in.
Yeah,
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 they're now
yeah.
getting shorter, unfortunately. Yeah.
Andrew Hunter,
Yeah.
based on recent experience, when will your next podcast come out? I've already said sorry. I feel like Wyndham bloody Clark now. Still apologising for the same thing.
For something
How
that
many
we did,
sorries is it going to take? It's his fault. Like, blame him. Buggering off to join the Tartan Army.
Well, do you know that I'm going back for the round of 32?
No, it's none of that. Have you got any suggestions, Lewis? I know you made the, I know you pulled it. But...
Nah, not really. No, I can't really beat the 2030 vision from referees and on the other night.
Quite proud of that. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll reveal the correct question, the other side of this. Commercial break. Do not go anywhere.
Do you want an easy way to book tea times in Spain, Portugal and Italy? If yes, then On Tea is your answer. OnTea.com is a reliable and easy-to-use site for tea time bookings. There are 3 reasons why you should use On Tea. 1. You can cancel your tea time up to 48 hours before teeing off, free of charge. 2. You have the payment option Book Now, Pay Later available. 3. On Tea guarantees the lowest online price. Go to ontea.com today and discover 1,000 bookable courses. Use the code BUNKERED26 during checkout to get a discount on your purchase. Valid throughout 2026.
Welcome back. Part 2 of this week's Bunkered podcast. Michael and Lewis here in sunny Dundee. Usually that would be sarcasm. This week, not so much. Absolutely boiling. But, you know, I'm not going to complain about it. I'm going to turn things on their head, Lewis. I feel like I was miserable and complained a lot in that first half for good reason.
Yeah, you did.
For good reason. I don't like people being unreasonably cruel to one another, and that's what I thought they were to Wyndham Clark. But let's turn it on its head. I've got some good news to share with you all. Some very good news. So the Bunkered newsletters, our email newsletters, have had a bit of a facelift. So the breakfast bulletin goes out Monday through to Saturday. It's in your inbox from 6:30 every single morning. So by the time you get up, unless you're one of these like really, really weird people that gets up at 5 a.m, by the time you get up and you're sitting down, having your Cheerios or your toast or your fry up or your protein shake, whatever takes your fancy, the latest golf headlines and analysis and opinions and advice will be in your inbox every single day. Now, here's why that's important. It's not curated by AI or a machine or by some other automated device. These stories are handpicked every single day by the Bunkered team, myself included, Lewis, the rest of the team. They pick these stories for you because we think these are the stories that matter. These are the water cooler moments that are going to happen. So we are wanting to give you all the advice, insight, opinions, news, blah, blah, blah that you need. And we put some context around it with a little explainer at the top of the newsletter. It is hugely popular. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people are receiving it every single day, and you should too. So go to bunker.co.uk/newsletters to sign up for that. And whilst you're there, you can sign up for the New Look Monday Finish, which is where you can read my column every single week. If you enjoy... if you enjoy my views on the game, then you can now read them as well. In the Monday Finish every single week, I'll also be making some recommendations on other stuff that you can read. There'll be exclusive giveaways and so on. Speaking of giveaways, if you sign up for these newsletters before the end of this month, what is it, the 23rd, so you have a whole week left. If you sign up before the end of June, then you will go into a prize draw. 2 separate prize draws, one for the Monday Finish, one for the Breakfast Bulletin subscribers. And the winners of those draws will each receive a MotoCaddy Pro 5000 laser rangefinder. Lewis knows all about this. It's an unbelievable bit of kit. You will never miss another green again. Asterisk can't guarantee that because that's down to you, not the device. But the device is exceptional. The retail for around about £200. Like I say, there'll be 2 separate draws. One for subscribers to the Breakfast Bulletin, one for subscribers to the Monday Finish. Person drawn from each of those lists on July the 1st will receive a MotoCaddy Pro 5000 laser rangefinder. I think that's quite a good thing to get.
There's nothing worse than playing with the guy who's like, how far have you got? Don't spoil your coffee.
Try
Michael.
not to.
How far have you got there? How far is that there? Did you get yardage? Well, if he's got 140 and I'm maybe about 12 yards. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, my watch is like one. What is it to the middle?
Worse, the guy that walks around looking
Yeah,
for a sprinkler head.
Is that to the
on
middle?
a golf course that doesn't have a sprinkler head.
Is that one to the middle or is that to the front? No, you can just wipe all that out, just zap it, and then you know. And then, like you say, you'll never miss a green ever again. Exactly.
All you have to do is sign up for these newsletters. I mean, you're getting great content anyway, particularly in the Breakfast Bulletin. On top of that, you've got a chance to win, so do get involved. bunker.co.uk/newsletters. Sign up before June the 30th. July the 30th. We're not extending it. No. Before June the 30th, and you'll go into the prize draws that are taking place July the 1st. Right, Aston answered before the break. Right, good. Okay, onwards. Great stuff. Before the break, Aston answered, if the answer is 2030, what is the question, Lewis Fraser?
When is the earliest day that we will see a golf ball roll back, Michael?
I should have known.
Yeah, you should have known, and you did know deep down, and a lot of people
it's a bit performative
knew,
right now.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's fine. So this time last week, last Wednesday, we had an email from golf's governing bodies, a joint statement from the R&A, the US
Love
PGA,
a joint statement.
PGA Tour and DP World Tour, all the big hitters coming together to tell us basically...
They're merging! Oh, no, that was a different
that
June.
was a while back, and did that...
Framework
that
agreement.
Definitely happened, and we'll gloss over that. But anyway, so... The initial plan was, I'm sure most of you know, but bring you up to speed, there was going to be a 2-date phased implementation of 2028 and 2030 for the golf ball rollback, which is, as the name would suggest, stop the golf ball going as far as it currently does, which is a very long way at the top of the game. That has now not going to happen, and... they have said that, let me read it from...
So hang on, it was going to happen in 2 stages, the rollback.
Yes.
The earliest date,
was
the
going
first
to be
phase was going to be for pros and elite amateurs. And then the second phase was going to be everybody else.
You and I.
Okay.
Everyone else. That's now not going to be happening. So
until at least 2030.
In the statement said that feedback from the industry on the notice and comment related to the date of the implementation of the updated ODS stands for Overall Distance Standard, testing approach indicated that the majority support a single date implementation of 2030. So people don't want this to happen in the next 2 years. Now, the governing bodies are talking about feedback from the industry. So this is... I would imagine these tours, possibly players, and of course...
almost certainly players.
Players and people who make the golf balls. So I'm looking around here. We've
Equipment
got manufacturers. Titleist, Callaway, Strixon. I can see a Wilson hat behind you. All these people probably want more time to get their heads around this. There was another point there, which is longer, so I'm not going to read it in full, but basically discussions between PGA Tour leadership, PGA Tour Player Advisory Council, so like you say, the players there said that distance continues to increase at the elite level, which we know. There's a concern that the updated ODS testing approach may not achieve the desired results. We'll come back to that, because I think that is a key point here that has perhaps spooked the people who are trying to implement this. And finally,
there's one particular reason.
There's one particular reason.
That,
There's a collective willingness to reconsider alternative approaches that may more materially impact the pace of future distance increases while minimising disruption to the overall golf market. Reading between the lines there, I think that could be something that we've spoken about in the past. But I want
Instead
to go...
of fixing the ball, fix something else.
Potentially, or go to bifurcation, which is something we've spoken about there, because there is a real... in this statement, there's a lot of mention of the elite level and the distance that players are hitting the ball at that level, as opposed to the Saturday Medal at Clydebank, where that's not much of an issue.
Right.
So what I want to talk about here is Cameron Young. So you you did allude to it there, Michael. Cam Young has been playing with much success. Should add a Titleist Pro V1X double dot golf ball. Now, this is similar to the Pro V1X that you can go into your pro shop and buy, but different in that this was one of the custom performance options that Titleist make for the best players in the world. Similar.
Can you buy those?
I don't believe you can buy this specific one, but
If you wanted a left dash, for example.
Yeah, you can
buy those.
go and buy a left dash. You could go onto Titleist's website and order a dozen left dashes, not a problem. I wouldn't be surprised if the double dot became similar to that, because the left dash started off as a tour-only option. It's now available. Anyone can go and play it, whether you're an 18 handicap or if you're one of the best players in the world. But Cam Young started using this ball, and it was designed to basically help him control his approach shots better while still being able to hit the ball a long way. Clearly, that's worked for him. You saw him at the Players' Championship, hit it nearly 400 yards down that hole, has continued to do that, won a lot of events doing that.
So he's using what the authorities originally wanted to be as a rollback ball, to all intents and purposes.
So this ball wasn't designed to be a rolled back ball,
but
not at all.
It conforms to rollback.
But reports say, and it's not been disputed at all, that this ball would be absolutely fine under the new standards. Now, Cameron Young's game has got better since he's switched to this ball.
Arguably the best player in the world this year.
Yeah, and the best part of his game is probably his driver, because he can hit it so far, and he's probably hitting more fairways and actually hitting it a longer distance with this ball.
That's the key part.
Yes.
Hitting it further with a rolled back ball.
His driver has not got worse, and he's not spinning the ball more to be disadvantageous to him.
So if the purpose of a rollback is to
make driving harder
and shorter, or at very least not longer,
yes,
then this solution wouldn't work.
So
the proposed solution wouldn't work. Okay.
Exactly that. And I feel like this is the main reason for this statement coming out and this rethink of what the governing bodies are going to do, because...
So you're telling me Cam Young is the handbrake here?
I think so.
Okay.
Titleist have inadvertently stumbled across a ball that performs really well right now and will still perform incredibly well under these regulations that are supposed to...
Inadvertently or by design, because they've had an awful lot of time.
They have had a lot of time. I do genuinely believe that they haven't gone into their lab and thought, let's design a ball that is going to be rolled back. I think they've gone Cameron Young, or it could be someone else, because I think Cam went in to test golf balls and he picked this up sort of just trying it out and thought, this is great, I want to use this. They've just been messing about with trying to create a golf ball that's slightly better or a slightly different profile. And just by chance, this has happened to work under these regulations. So that's a problem, because, like you say, the whole idea is to make driving the ball harder and make the ball go shorter, and that's not working.
Yeah,
so,
or at the very least not longer. Like you're saying he is hitting it further than he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So clearly the proposed solution is no solution at all.
Yeah.
So I can understand them going, I need to go back to the drawing board.
Need to go back to the drawing board here. And there's an interesting line at the end of this, which is there will be no change to the ODS testing approach until January 2030 while these options are evaluated. So to me, there doesn't seem to be, this isn't very committal at this point, in that they're saying this is exactly what is going to happen in, 3.5 years' time at this point, which is not a long time to work this out. And to me, it seems very non-committal about what is actually going to happen with the golf ball. And that's a bit of a concern for me, because we've spoken about this for years, and the governing bodies highlight that the distance is becoming an issue for me. Players are overpowering golf courses. When the Open goes to St Andrews in a couple of years' time, the course isn't going to be played in the way that's been designed to be played, and that course is not alone. So we can't keep going further back into the town of St Andrews to build tees on the first to stop players hitting an 8-iron or wedge onto the green. So something needs to be done about this, and the testing, the way that the ball is tested, there needs to be a new way for that to happen. And I hope that that's worked out sooner rather than later, and this isn't just kicked down the road further.
I've said it before, but it just feels like bifurcation is the best solution here. I just have a hard time thinking that it's not, and I don't agree with the reasons that people are putting up for why we shouldn't bifurcate. All this stuff about, but the beauty of golf is that I can use the same equipment as Rory McIlroy and compare myself like for like to him. you'll still be able to do that. It's just that and I think you should be able to do that as long as the bifurcated equipment is still available to buy at retail, whether that's in limited quantities or, D2C or whatever means the equipment companies are able to make it available. If you are dumb enough as a 15 handicapper to want to use equipment that you are not good enough to use, then that should be your prerogative. But this idea that, golf's better because you can test yourself against the best in the game like that, I just don't think it feels like we're trying to hold back too much water on this romanticised notion of what the game is and should be. The best players in the world are getting better, quicker than average players.
Yes.
They are improving exponentially. I don't have the data to back this up. This is anecdotal, but they are clearly hitting it further. They are clearly hitting it straighter. They're clearly hitting more greens. They're making more putts. They're better out of bunkers. They're just all-round better players. Now, I've said this before, it's not just the equipment that they use that has changed. Their physicality has changed. I think their professionalism has changed and improved as time's gone on. No offence to Jack and Arnie or Ben Hogan or Old Tom. Different times. Everybody, the species is evolving.
Yeah.
We're all better than our 110-year-old versions.
It's the same in any sport.
It's the same in everything.
Yeah.
We're getting
true.
better all the time.
Yeah.
So that's not a controversial view. Equally, greenkeeping has undoubtedly changed. Gary Player has told us a number of times about how the first time he played the Old Course, there were
Many
daisies.
times.
Yes, there were daisies in the fairways, if not the greens. Agronomy is better. That is also proven. So the way that the Old Course now, it's funny, people get very protective of the Old Course, and I get it, and I agree mostly with it. They get very protective of it, saying, we mustn't add more. But how it looks and plays is fundamentally different because the fairways didn't look the way they do now. They didn't look like that 60 years ago. The greens didn't play the way they did 60 years ago because agronomy's better.
Yep.
The greenkeeping methods and the tools available to them are better. So this is a sum of all parts. But if we're wanting to address the equipment part of it, I think the solution is pretty simple. Bifurcate. We can get to a solution quicker. What we need to do is make sure that we're measuring stuff the right way.
Yeah.
And clearly they've stumbled across this problem that has been spotlighted by Cam Young, that the proposed solution is no solution at all. Right? Can everyone get round the table? All the affected parties get round the table and come up with a solution, and that shouldn't take years.
No,
it just shouldn't. We should be able to move much greater, agility than we are.
I'm coming round to sat on this podcast several times and said that I don't want bifurcation. I actually am coming round to the idea of that now, because it seems like not the only logical solution, but it could be the way to sort this issue out. Because at the crux of it, if Rory McIlroy's hitting it 30 yards shorter, that's what people want to see, because then you're going to see him trying to hit more long irons into par fives, or at least mid irons and not wedges into par fives, and you're going to see him play golf courses the way that they've designed, and that bunkers aren't going to have to be at 380 yards. But if Davey, like you say, who plays off 15 and plays twice a week and then puts his clubs away for 6 months in the winter, if his new golf ball is flying 30 yards shorter, then that just doesn't make sense.
Of course it doesn't.
And like you say, if he still has the option to play the golf ball that Rory uses that goes shorter, then absolutely fine. But it's going to be such a disadvantage.
Of course it is, and that's his mistake to make. And I genuinely think people will come around pretty quickly. There's a reason that Titleist offers so many different golf balls just now. It's because there's not one golf ball for everybody.
Yep.
They would look at me play golf and they would probably say, you know what, Michael, you probably shouldn't be using a Titleist Pro V1. We recommend you use something like
something that's cheaper.
Yeah, a Velocity or something like that. There's a Titleist golf ball for absolutely everybody. That's why golf ball fitting's so important. But people don't think like that. They just think, oh well, Rory uses, he uses the TaylorMade, obviously. TP5, I'll have the TP5 or TP5X. I think he's on there. I'll have that because Rory uses it. Absolutely mental.
Yes,
like that is user error. That is not golf problem. That is user error, and that's happening in the round. So, if somebody, to use your example, Davey wants to use a left dash double dot knock yourself out, David.
Aye, yep.
Knock yourself out. It should be available to you, but again, it's about how you make it available. And I think D2C, companies, certainly startups, disruptors, whatever you want to call them, like Vice Golf, have demonstrated how D2C can be a really compelling option and done well. It doesn't have to be hard. If the bifurcated golf ball was only available D2C and you don't get it through Greengrass accounts or an American Golf or whatever it might be, if it's hard to find but you can at least still find it, then I think that's all good. But there are people who say, oh, you don't get to use the same golf clubs that Rory McIlroy does. You do.
You can
have them if you want. You can have them spec'd up. But you're going to find a custom fitter who's going to look at you very funny and is going to advise you, if they're half decent, to not take those clubs.
Yes.
You know, I've held a golf club with a grip set for Bryson specs.
Yeah, well, it's not insanity. Easy to hold. Yeah,
it's not.
It's like holding a telegraph pole.
Exactly. It's mental. But if that's what you want to do, if you want to make the game objectively much harder for yourself, then go ahead. But yeah, I just think that it shouldn't be up to this. Golf's hard, right? Justin Rose said this last week, and it's going to continue to be hard regardless of what decision and what the outcome to the rollback eventually is. Let the user be the one to determine how hard it is for themselves. Don't impose a rolled back ball for absolutely everybody and say, yeah, everyone's now going to have to start hitting it 30 yards shorter.
Yep.
If you want to hit it 30 yards longer as an amateur, or you want to play with a ball that's going to be hard to hit it further, it's going to be hard to keep on the fairway, that should be your option. For the top players, absolutely dial it all the way back.
Yep. Last thing on this, I think, the good thing for me is that Augusta National are behind this and they want change, which generally you'd imagine will mean that something is going to get done. Fred Ridley, Augusta National chairman, did come out at the Masters this year, and a quote to say that failure is not an option. So going Apollo 13 on us with that, and that these astronauts will get home. I forget, but the guy who was in charge of... I only know from the cinematic interpretation. Yes,
Gene Kranz was the NASA controller. Ed. Oh, he was in the Truman Show.
Producer Will, help us out here. You know
Ed.
His head.
Right, you carry on with that thought. I'm going to half listen and try and come up with it.
Right, okay. Shall we move on to the next point then? Or do you want to talk?
Augusta National, you were saying.
Augusta National. Look,
Ed Harris.
Yes,
Ed Harris.
There we go. Yeah. So for me, if Augusta National want this to happen, then something is going to happen.
Well, they want it to happen for two reasons.
Yes.
One, they're sick and tired of digging up their golf course and buying more land and changing how that golf course looks and plays. The 13th is nothing like it used to be. But they're having to do it because, well, I think it's fairly obvious. But I think Augusta National are also approaching this from the right point of view, which is they want to see golf continue to challenge all facets of a player's game. There's nothing more boring right now in golf than the recovery shot, because it's far too easy to play. Recovery shots should be difficult, and they should be the most fun shots to watch. Recovery golf should be the most fun golf. At the moment, it's not. So, yeah, Augusta, I think they've got the right intentions. They're saying the right things. I hope to God they're listened to.
Yes, I'm sure they will be.
We'll see.
Anyway, should we talk about Joaquin Niemann?
Let's
Going back to the US Open.
So Joaquin.
An interesting one. He had a brilliant finish, in fact, and I believe it was his best finish in a major. Let me just...
The second top 10 of all time.
Yeah, well, there you go. And that was made all the more impressive because earlier in the week, he made an 11. Now, that's bad enough as it is, but that 11 became an 11 because he holed out in 9 shots. I believe he lost a couple balls. And in his ire of losing those balls and generally making a mess of a hole, he had a tantrum and threw a club. And under new regulations for major championships, he was penalised 2 shots.
This is Rule 1.5. You're the rules official. Rule 1.5C,
I believe it's Rule 1.2B.
Right, okay.
So don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what it is. But either way...
And this governs player conduct.
Yes, so this is to stop players basically serious misconduct. So something that will come under that is throwing clubs in a manner that is basically not fitting for the game.
So it defines what serious misconduct is in a broad sense, doesn't it? So that's things like, abusive language and threatening behaviour, physical confrontations, and am I right in saying it actually specifies throwing clubs or damaging equipment?
Yes, I believe throwing equipment is in specifically worded in this, which is where
I mean, throwing hands and throwing clubs are quite different.
Oh,
but
yeah.
if they want to lump them together, fine.
Yep. So Niemann did actually come out and said that he felt like the penalty was warranted. So I don't believe that any footage has come out of this. But if he's saying that this was probably the right decision, then at least he's admitted that this was something that he has fallen foul of these new regulations for misconduct.
Which I'm not surprised he said that. He's a very uncontroversial player. He's a very nice young man. He's not known for saying things that are, controversial or exacerbated in the heat of the moment. He's a very level-headed player, so I'm not surprised that he's taken full responsibility for what happened. I've got mixed feelings.
Go on. Because I think I do as well, and I feel like it'll be the same.
Well, I just want them to apply this rule consistently.
Yes.
Because the Open's coming up. If a player chucks a club, then, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they can, the organising committees of the tournaments can invoke their own local rule off the back of this actual rule. Is that right? They can interpret it how they choose to interpret it with a local rule.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's where the inconsistency in the grey area could come up. What Joaquin Niemann's penalised and punished for at the US Open might not be deemed by the RNA to be something that's a punishable offence or that's going to get a 2-stroke penalty. It could be a 1-stroke penalty, for example. So that kind of grey area doesn't sit particularly well with me. Rules should be black and white. I think when you leave rules open to interpretation or open to adjustment, that's when you're creating problems. So there's that part of it. The other part is he tossed a club. I mean, I'm sure he's not proud of it. Anyone who's ever thrown a club, and I include myself in this, we're not proud of it. There's nothing more chastening than when you, as I did, chuck a wedge, it snaps in 2 or 3 places, and then you go, well, that's 100 quid, 120 quid down the drain, all because I couldn't control my temper in the moment. But we're all guilty of it. Do you know why? Because it's a human response. It's a natural reaction to a very frustrating sport, frustrating and disappointing you for the umpteenth time that day. What do they want them to do? Not have a human response anymore? There's enough artificial shit in the world. Can we not just getting quite grumpy today? Can we not just
is it because we're doing the podcast earlier?
I think it is. Right. I think it is. But I don't know. He's thrown a club, not at anybody by all accounts, throwing it down the fairway, not in danger of hitting anyone with it. So no harm, no foul, man. It's an instinctive response to a disappointment. What's he meant to do?
Yeah, I agree.
Is he meant to just suck it up and swallow it down and become a robot?
Pretty much.
That's what AI's for, man.
That's yeah, true. And that's not what we want in golf, is it? I think for anyone, like you say, anyone who's played golf, no matter what level it is, if you're playing the US Open or you're just playing with your friends, will know that it is the most frustrating game on the planet, because you will be like Joaquin Niemann and be, I don't know how many under par he would have been for the other 71 holes that he played, but to finish as well as he did, he would have been right up there, possibly even winning the event, and he's had this absolute blow-up hole, and he's then chucked a club. Like, that to me doesn't seem like something that should be getting punished. There's other things that I would much rather see get punished.
Yes.
Slow play.
Yes.
And that doesn't seem to be getting the same treatment as this is. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that if someone goes and smashes a tee marker or like damages the course in a way that is going to be a problem for players coming behind them, then yeah, I can see why punishment should be dealt there. But someone throwing a club for a 2-shot penalty, is that really something that we should be handing out two-shot penalties for?
No,
I don't think so. And then also, like you say,
I've not seen what the damage was. I should.
No,
add.
I have like.
But I'd like to think whatever it was, if he's thrown it 50 yards, as been suggested.
Yes.
Then I suspect it's maybe taken a small gouge, and I'd like to think he's repaired it.
Yeah, I would think so too. And
how
where
many
do you draw
other
the
players
line?
did it last week, by the way?
Yeah.
I mean,
He's not the only player to throw a club.
But he's the
this
only
is-
one that got punished.
This is the other thing for me, is that are we going to have referees with every group per following to make sure that no one's doing something like this and throwing a club? Or are we going to be measuring how far they've thrown it, or judging? Look at, I'm not suggesting that this should ever be a penalty, but look at Sahith Theegala chopping a shot out of the rough, and he's let go of the club because it's snagged in the rough. I don't know if you saw this, but it's snagged in the rough and it's gone like flying over his shoulder. Is that something that is going to get penalised? Is a referee going to look at that and think, oh, you've done that out of anger because you've hit a bad shot, we're going to give you a two-shot
teeing
penalty?
off, and we see how many times a player tees off, goes into the follow-through position, then lets go of the club, and the club close five behind him.
Hideki Matsuyama's going to get about 12 penalty shots every round to this at the Open. That's when he's playing well. He hits good shots into the green.
It's the old divot debate. What constitutes a club throw?
Yeah, well, yeah.
I think divots are, by the way,
back to divots,
I think
doesn't it?
divots are easier to identify than a club throw.
I would actually agree with that, and I'm not suggesting that we change the rule on divots, but I would agree with
coming
what
round
you're
to
saying there. Well, maybe one day if this heat persists and I keep
Maybe that's why I'm grumpy. It's the heat.
sunstroke.
But
Yeah,
But it's a nonsense penalty. Obviously it's not something that should be encouraged, but I don't think anybody has been encouraging players to throw clubs. It's not something that is happening all the time to the extent that it's become an epidemic, and it's, you know what, there are bigger problems that need
there are
fixed.
massively bigger
So
problems.
yeah, nonsense. I feel for Niemann. I don't think he deserved it. You try staying calm after the way he played that hole.
Punishment enough for making a 9 is bad enough. If you're throwing a club, something's probably gone wrong anyway. So do we really need to be adding insult to injury here? I don't know. I don't think we do either.
You've written something here, Lewis, in the notes. Lewis shoots under par.
That wasn't me.
5 minutes to be self-indulgent. Right, keep it to a tight 2. On you go. What's this all about?
Yeah, so, well, listeners will... I know I'm kind of being facetious when I say self-indulgent, but I'm not, because I'm going to be for a few minutes. But listeners will know that I've been kind of on a mission to be better
You nearly
at golf.
said journey.
Yeah, I
You
did
nearly
say journey.
used the J word.
I had to quickly Google synonyms.
save.
Thank you. Been on a journey to try and play better golf, and it's largely been not fruitful for the last few months. But I feel like I had a bit of a breakthrough just before I actually went on a bit of annual leave and shot 67, which is 2 under par at my home club, Clydebank, or Hardgate, as a lot of people know it. I'm sure a lot of listeners will know the course. And I felt like there'll be a lot of people, pretty much everyone who plays golf wants to shoot better scores. And there's a few things that I did that definitely helped me, and I feel like would help anyone else, regardless of whether you're also trying to shoot under par, trying to break 80, trying to break 100. Bit of background, like I've shot under par in bounce games, like no problem, like go out after work and play with mates and there's no pressure on, and you get to the end of the round, you think, I was level par, a couple under there, that was good. Don't really think about it, but as soon as a scorecard or a virtual scorecard is in my pocket, I cannot do that. And I've been in situations since about 10 years ago where I've got to the last few holes and I've been on a good score and disaster has happened. And that didn't happen a couple of weeks back. And
So what was different?
Well, one thing that was really big for me, and I'm going to credit Steve Johnston, who is on our performance panel and has been for a long time. And one of the first pages that, before I even started working with Steve, one of the first things I read about it was a really interesting trick that he used, which is to, rather than think of your round as 18 holes, think of it as like sections. So it actually goes back a bit to the World Cup and hydration breaks, and it's kind of been split into quarters, and I've been splitting my rounds into 6, like 3-hole sections. So for all those 3 holes at my home club, I want to play them in level par. And in this round where I shot 2 under, after 3 holes, I was 2 under par. And usually at that point, I'd be thinking, oh my God, like just get me to the end of the round now, because I don't want to make a cock up here and ruin another good score. But when I got to the fourth tee, I thought, right, all I need to do is just try and be level par for the next 3 holes. And that continued the whole way round. And by the time I got to the 16th tee, again, I was 2 under and it fluctuated a little bit. But I just thought, well, I'm back to level par. I'm going to try and do that for the next 3 holes. And as much as in the back of my mind, I know that that's not true, there is a part of my brain that's like, oh, well, just shoot level par for 3 holes. It's easy. Like, I can do that. So that was really beneficial because I've had times in the past where I've been, like I say, playing really well and I start thinking about the 16th hole when I'm on the 5th hole. And that's not good because it's the classic one shot at a time. Yeah. Break it down. So that was helpful. I think also the acceptance that good golf is boring, and that's probably not what people want to hear. And when I came off the course and I told my friends about this, they're like, oh, you must have played like amazing. Like, how good were you hitting it? Were you like hole and bunker shots and stuff? But that wasn't true at all. I counted up, I had probably 11 or 12 like tap-ins for par. So most holes have been regulation pars or I've been just off the green and I've chipped up to like a couple feet and knocked a putt in. And that's probably not what people think when they see a score of 2 under. You think that you're going to have to make loads of putts and be hitting like ridiculous recovery shots from trees or hitting like 4 irons to a few feet. Like, I made 4 birdies and honestly, like, a couple of them I was aiming at the middle of the green and I've just pushed one shot and pulled the other and it's gone close to the hole and I made the putt. That's not going to happen all the time, but I think just having that, you know, no matter what level you're at, but trying to eliminate like the silly shots or accepting a bogey or accepting even a double if that's a net bogey for you.
Not compounding errors.
Not compounding errors. Like, there was one situation where I nearly did that and I hold a good putt for a bogey on the 11th where I was in the bunker and wanted to get really cute with it, and I thought, no, if I do this, I'm going to leave it in here and I could make a 7 or 8 and it would be the derailment of like what would have been a good score in the past. So yeah, just trying to avoid the big mistakes and just make it as not stressful as possible. So there was that. And then the third one was kind of going back to the week before, is that I went and played like a 36-hole scratch open at Blairgowrie. 2 very challenging golf courses there, brilliant courses, but a day where I was under, like, it's quite stressful. You're playing with golfers who are better than you, and if you have a bad score...
Best way to get better, by the way.
Absolutely.
I'll die on that hill.
Played with someone from our team, Fraser, who works in the marketing team. He's played off like +3 in the past, proper golfer. Played with someone else who has played like open qualifying before, and I was there thinking, God, if I shoot 85 here, I'm going to look like a moron and feel like I shouldn't be there. But when you do that and you're under so much pressure for that long and you actually do fairly well, you go back to playing the Saturday Meadow at your home club and it's easy. And it's straightforward and you think, this is great. So my lesson for that would be, whatever your comfort zone is, try and get out of it a bit on the golf course, because if you're playing with your mates who are worse than you, they're going to drag you down like to your level. But if you're at the club and you see that the club champion's like out heading out for a few holes and he's by himself, say to him, like, do you mind if I join you? And go and play with him for 9 holes after in the evening.
Playing with people who are better than you is, in my opinion, hands down, one of the quickest and easiest ways to get better. You focus harder, you're not fanning about because you don't want to get in their way. You don't make a fool of yourself and all that sort of stuff. So I think you just become a bit more, what's the word? A wee bit more insular in your process. You just focus on the simple bits, the basics. And there's less fluff, there's less noise going on, less distraction. I think it's hugely important.
On the less distraction thing, so that's a good point. I played with 2 guys who I've played with people before, and as much as it's an outside influence, I should be able to control it. I've played with people when I've been on a good score in the middle of the back 9 night. Hang on, Lewis. I'm looking at your scorecard here. I don't know if you've realised this, but you're actually 1 under. So if you just play the next 4 holes in level par, you're going to shoot under par, and you're probably going to win the medal. I'm like, yes, shut up. I know that. And now you've verbalised it, and I've hit one out of bounds because you've made me realise what's happening. And I played with 2 guys who were decent golfers, weren't having a good day, but they largely just stayed out of my way and spoke about, like, you know, normal stuff, and didn't once mention like how my golf was going. Genuinely, like, not once.
Left you to it.
Completely left me to it. exclaim at any point that I was playing well, which was such a difference, and said to them after, like, thank you, because it's one of those, like, you can tell they're thinking it and they're trying to stay out of my way and, like, marking putts when otherwise they would have just tapped it in. And they both NR'd in the front nine, but they just carried on as if they were trying to play well as well. So that made a big difference. But yeah, just trying to, like, stay in your own bubble, I think, is a
first
big thing,
competitive under par round. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. I was chuffed
scenes.
with that. Yeah, so hopefully
Frame the
more.
scorecard.
Not quite.
Laminated it at least.
And these days, I took a screenshot of the how did I do scores, my Scottish golf app, and I've saved that on my phone. So yeah,
brilliant.
There you go.
More to come. And thank you, Lee Westwood, obviously.
Yeah, well, I know, talking about playing with better players. Yeah, thank you, Lee Westwood.
Yeah, exactly. They don't get much better.
No.
Listen, time's against us. Let's go to Podder of Merit. Well, this is showing how many weeks it's been. The last one was the Charles Schwab Challenge. Lewis, you picked Alex Smalley, finished in a tie for third. Unbelievably good result. I picked Ben Griffin, also finished in a tie for third. So
also unbelievable.
Yes, not bad. We're kind of good at this game. So yeah, same score, no points there. I mean, we'd be splitting the points, wouldn't we? So the scores remain as they were, which is I'm on 5. Lewis, you are on 2 points. But I think I'm right in saying it had been your honour. I can't fully remember, so I'm going to defer anyway. Travellers Championship this week. I'll let you have the honour, Mr. Fraser. And who are you picking? TPC River Highlands or something like that, is it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Scottish Scheffler. Time's against us. I don't need to explain that.
Scottish Scheffler.
Yeah, because I'm points behind. I need points.
I just need to double check that this guy I was going to pick is playing.
Well, Scheffler was in the field before we started this, so I'm also going to check that he's not withdrawn in that time.
Yeah, you know what? That's frustrating. I've tried to get onto a betting site, and it has been blackballed
blocked by DC Thomson.
Yes. Let me see. So you were wanting to pick Scheffler.
He's in the field currently, according to PGAtour.com.
Where's my guy? Is he definitely playing? Yes, he is. I'm picking Patrick Cantley.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Feel like his game's turning around a little bit. He's been quiet for a while, hasn't he? But I think he's a compelling one to watch this week. Travellers Championship feels like a Patrick Cantley event.
Sure.
So, yeah,
I can get on board with that.
And Scheffler, you are right. No birthday celebrations for him over the weekend, and he's gone straight from there to the Travellers. Rory not playing, skipping another signature event. It seems to be becoming a habit. A conversation for another time, I suspect.
Yes.
Right, let's wrap this up with golf tenable.
Yes.
Lewis, over to you. We've been getting suggestions from people.
Yes, inundated with some suggestions, so that's great. If you have written to me, then I can only do one an episode, so I'm going to start with.
Or people getting ratty saying, where is it?
Yeah. No, but I wouldn't blame them, to be fair. So Barry Thomson, written in,
hi Barry.
Said, hi Barry, said, hi Lewis and Michael, I'm a regular listener to your podcast.
Good man.
It's a great mix of serious, thought-provoking golf chat, but always a right good chuckle. Not sure
Not
what.
this week.
Not this week. Yeah, I know. I think he meant to write into Rick Shields or someone else. But anyway, it's found its way to my inbox. He said, one thing I do need to take issue with is your claim that Dundee Seagulls are the baddest around. I was brought up in Dundee. I've always played my golf at Montefieth, but now live in Arbroath, home of the meanest bird since Prisoner's Cell Block H. I'm not usually one to trip out the old my bits, but my gulls would give your bits gulls a hiding. A couple of Saturdays ago, I witnessed something so traumatic and brutal, I may never get a good night's sleep again. He said that he was taking in some fresh air during an afternoon of light beverage at the Central Bar in Arbroath when the atmosphere was interrupted by a fight to the death between two gulls over a scabby kebab. This lasted a good few minutes and literally stopped traffic as their scrapping spilled onto the busy road outside. Even the local XL bullied dogs would give the Arbroath gulls a wide berth.
I mean, that's something you don't tend to see in the tourist material.
No, all these Bostonians wanting to come over to Scotland will not see that.
There's no Visit Scotland ads for Arbroath.
They think, oh, God. So, yeah, no Visit Scotland for...
I'll tell you what, it must be East Coast gulls.
Yeah, maybe they were on a day out to Arbroath, the Dundee Seagulls, and they've found a kebab and been
I saw one between the car park and the office this morning. It was just staring me out. Honestly, it was like
they know that you're talking about them.
it was like Audley Harrison with feathers.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I wouldn't want to go up against it.
Anyway, he said, on a slightly lighter and more cerebral note.
On a lighter note than seagulls fighting each other over a kebab.
He has a topical suggestion for Golf Tenable, which is to name the last 10 venues to host the US Open. Cheers, lads, and keep up the great pods. Barry,
what have you done? Last 10 to host the US Open. Right, okay. Shinnecock Hills.
1.
Oakmont.
2.
Pebble Beach.
Mm-hmm.
Pinehurst.
Yes.
Shit. It's early in the day, Barry.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to lie.
And it's late in the podcast as well. Not a good combo.
Let's think about winners.
Yes.
Oh, LA Country Club.
Yes.
So
Good.
20. That was 23. 26 was Shinnecock. 2025. JJ Spawn won at Oakmont. 2024 was Bryson at Pinehurst, I think.
Yep.
23 LA and Clark. 22 was Matt Fitzpatrick at Winged Foot.
No, but Winged Foot is on
It's
the
on
list.
the list,
so
but
yeah,
not there.
Well, yeah, so accidental victory there.
I took a big deflection on the way in.
Yeah,
but I'll take
that's
it.
fine. Those goals, you take them.
Yeah. So Winged Foot's there.
That was also Bryson. Should add 2020.
Oh, so it was
Matt Wolf. was
COVID era.
second. Yes.
19 was Woodland Pebble Beach.
Yes.
21. Who won the US Open in 21? Oh crap! John Ram
Mm-hmm.
at. Torrey Pines must be there.
Yes, well done. That was it.
So how many have I got? 7?
Yeah, you've got 3 to get.
And one of them's Matt Fitzpatrick's one.
Yeah.
Oh God, I should know that. That's absolutely embarrassing. It used to be fairly simple to do this as well because USGA and PGA
Here he is,
America
buying
kind of
time.
stay out of each other's way. But now there's a bit more overlap,
There
isn't
is
there?
overlap, yes. Yes, there is.
18 was
Bit of a,
Kepka.
overlap, with 18.
isn't Shinnecock.
Yes. So in
17
reality,
was
you've got
also Kepka, and that was hang on. I've got 2 names here,
Go on.
but I bet you're not going to include this because 2026 goes back as far as 17, right? Or are we including 16 in this?
So,
So the last 10 goes back to 2017.
yes,
So
so
if I say Chambers Bay, I'm wrong,
you're wrong.
but I'm going to say Erin Hills.
That was 2015, but Erin Hills was 2017. Well done.
Cool.
And you were right, you had Shinnecock the year before that.
So
The year previous. What am I trying to say here? The year after Erin Hills was Shinnecock, so you've just got one to get, which
got
is
one
Matt
to get, which is Matt Fitzpatrick in 2022. Oh, God almighty. I can see the golf course.
Barry. What have you done?
Barry. Oh, no, it's not. I was going to say it's Merion, but it's
No.
not been at Merion since Rose in 2013. So I've not lost a life there.
No,
I
you
corrected
didn't
myself.
say that. No, that's fine. You're allowed to confer with yourself. That's all right.
Lucas Glover, 2009. That was best page though, wasn't it?
We're going back now.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if like historic ones sort of spark something for me. Like Ogilvy, 2006 was Winged Foot. 2007 was that Argentinian guy at Oakmont. 2005 was Campbell at Pinehurst before the restoration. Oh my God. Pebble Beach was 2010. 2011 was Congressional. That was Rory. That's not been used since. 2012, I think was.
I don't think there's a really famous tournament that this did host, this club, but you're maybe on the wrong lines at the moment.
What? It hosted a Ryder Cup? Did it? It's not Medina.
No.
Oakland Hills, Oak Hill, Hazeltine. Oh my. It's not Brookline, is it? Oh my God! Oh my God!
The
Brookline.
fear in your eyes.
Brookline, Jesus, so it was. Oh my God, that was hard.
Mm-hmm. That was, yeah, you're
you know
right.
what? I would never have gone there had you not prompted
steered
me.
you in that direction, yeah.
That was a good assist.
Well done.
Well done, Barry.
Yeah, good question, Barry. Got you thinking there. So I will say there's been, I don't know if I want to give you the next suggestion, but it's so difficult. I don't even think we could be here.
Let's do that next week.
Do that. Okay, we'll do that next week. If you're listening, you know who you are because the next one's brutal. But yeah, good stuff, Barry. Thank you.
Barry, get back in touch, send us your address, and we'll sort you out with a little something for a tremendous suggestion. Mm-hmm. Won't be much. Our budget's not huge, but we'll see what we can do. Thank you for that, Barry. Lewis, thank you.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks for coming back. Thanks for coming
You're
back
welcome.
safely and in one piece. Delighted that at no point in this podcast did either of us attempt a Boston accent.
No.
That is a great result. I'm considering that one for the win column. We'll see you again next week.
Mm-hmm.
Until then, what's your plans for this week? Anything exciting happening? Are you off out and about?
I'm going to one of my mates' weddings this weekend.
Fantastic.
Andrew's getting married, and we are having a pre-wedding golf day at Dunaverty, the wonderful Dunaverty, a Texas scramble. Andrew has been well warned with the heat wave to wear lots of sun cream so he doesn't look like a lobster on his wedding day.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I will be doing the same to ensure that I'm not sunburnt in the photos. So yeah, that's what's coming up.
Is he going to go full Cantley without the cap?
Yeah, I think he might. Yeah, I think that could happen, but also he'd be wise just going with a big, like, I'm trying to think, Peter Malnati with the big brimmed, go full radar and keep the sun completely off him. So yeah, I've got that to look forward to this weekend.
Well, best wishes to the happy couple. Hope you have a great day. Hope you enjoy yourself too. And thank you to you all for watching, listening, etc. However you consume the podcast, it's very much appreciated indeed. Thank you for bearing with us during our little unexpected hiatus there. But suffice to say, we are here with you throughout now for a very big and busy summer. Yes, we know the World Cup is where everyone's attention is going. That's where our latest issue is going. Harry Kane, exclusive interview with the England captain. You won't get that in many magazines, indeed perhaps any other magazine, but you get it in Bunkered, talking about his relationship with golf, his relationship with reflow, etc. So our latest edition even has lots of World Cup content. Go and pick it up. Better yet, subscribe at bunker.co.uk/sub offer. So yeah, the World Cup is going to be on everyone's radar, but we are keeping it golf here at the Bunkered podcast. Loads of great events coming up, starting this week with the KPMG Women's PGA Championship. Then we're going to be very soon into the Scottish Open, the Senior Open, the AIG Women's Open, the Women's Scottish Open, and so on and so forth. Loads and loads coming up, so make sure you stay tuned. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for listening, and bye-bye for now.